All right, we're going to get started. So I don't want to keep you too long. It's almost Thanksgiving.
What, oh, yes,
It's just hit the button right here.
Okay, how's everybody
That
doing?
button right there. Thank you.
It's a little bit hard to be at square tables than straight, right? So I want to start out by saying, let's see if this will work. One second. There we go. Happy Thanksgiving. I might not see you in a week or whatever, and I love Thanksgiving. It's probably one of my favorite holidays because it makes you stop and be thankful and think about what you're thankful for. And I think we live such crazy busy lives that sometimes it's hard to stop and, think about what you're thankful for, maybe even take some time to thank people or whoever, right? Just curious, is anyone thinking of something or someone that they're thankful for right now they want to share with the group? Mike?
I gotta say, I'm actually thankful for my wife, but for various reasons, but most recently, she's actually started with our three daughters who are all under 6. Every night at dinner, they say what they're thankful for after
Awesome.
praise and everything.
Awesome.
And my oldest on the first night was thankful that she gets to spend so much time with her family.
Wow, yeah,
5 years old.
that's awesome. Love it. That's a great habit to get into with the kids.
I was thinking the same thing. I think I'm very thankful for my husband for being so supportive of me going through this new endeavor, being in a new business.
Yeah.
And I was thinking I'm not going to be with my family on Thanksgiving. It's just going to be my husband and I because they're going to the in-laws.
Sure, yeah.
So I said, and it made me think we always sit around the table and say what we're thankful for
Yeah.
and how grateful when we go around the table. So I'm thinking, I guess we're going to have to text. As
Yeah.
soon as you said that, well, I'm going to text them.
That's a
and
good
we'll
way of
do-
doing it.
We'll do the group text and everybody
Absolutely.
can talk about what they're thankful for.
That'd be awesome. That might take that hesitation from, anyone who's feeling tough to talk in front of everybody. It might give them an opportunity to,
Yeah, but we won't be together, so
Right.
it's like then we can still do our tradition,
yeah,
even though, yeah.
yeah,
FaceTime.
yeah.
Oh.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Anybody else? Did you have your hand up? Okay.
I'm just thankful for my family, really. And again, my husband for being so supportive of, my kids are thankful, it's been a long time since mommy's been back at work. We're all adjusting to not seeing mommy on weekends and, not being there. Like this Friday, I chunked out some time so that I can volunteer in school to surprise them.
Great.
Because I used to be able to volunteer a lot and now I can't, so they're gonna be so shocked to see mommy there. So I'm just thankful that, I'm trying to learn the balance and.
Yeah, good. What do you got? Anybody else thankful for something, someone?
I've got 2 new grandbabies.
2 new grandbabies, that's
So
awesome.
great. The first one had a kind of tough entry into the world, so, but he's doing great now. So
Good.
nothing better than having grandkids.
Yeah, nice. That's great. We moved into a new house, and we had the McClintocks and Burtons over for dinner, which is like our kind of tradition thing. And our tradition is to stand around the kitchen and hold hands and say what we're thankful for whenever we get together. It doesn't have to be Thanksgiving. And to whoever wants to pray, thank God for this food or whatever. And it's exciting to hear your family share their things that they're thankful for. Like you said, Mike, to have an 11-year-old or a young child express their feelings towards everyone in a positive way is just so fun. So in my new house, we have a 9-foot island in the kitchen, and we all stood around holding hands, and we all fit for the first time. And there's 21 of us, so it was really fun. And so Carrie, my wife, was standing next to me holding my hand, and she wanted to say what she was so choked up, she couldn't talk. Because we built this house for that reason, kind of thing. So it was really, really cool. Just everyone knew Aunt Carrie or Carrie was touched by everybody being there and fitting and all that stuff. So it's really, really cool. So I'm thankful for that, and my family big time. So we talked about gratitude. What are you thankful for? I want to challenge you guys. Sometimes on Wealth Building Wednesday, I'll challenge you, but I won't push it. This is one thing I want to push on you. Go tell somebody before Thanksgiving that you're thankful for them, whoever it is. Give them a hug. Tell them why. We need that as individuals. We need to know that we've made a good, positive impact on somebody in our lives. And I'm telling you right now, it'll do you a lot of good, but it'll do them a lot of good too. And so, can we all raise our hands up? We will do that before Thanksgiving. I mean, on Thanksgiving, you'll probably do it. We're going to commit. We're going to tell someone at least we're thankful for them. Great. Awesome. I want to play a video for you of Zig Ziglar. You guys know I'm a big fan of his. Even though he has passed, he's left us books and videos and things to look back on. I just wanted to play this for you and hope that you will like it as much as I did and get something out of it. So give me 1 second to get this up and going. When you hear Zig talk, you'll see why I like him.
Ziglar. Inspiring true performance.
These are all
A number of years ago, Laurie Majors, my executive assistant, got a phone call from a lady in Birmingham, Alabama. At the end of the conversation, she said, Zig, she said, I believe this woman thinks she's got an impossible problem, but I believe you can solve that problem with her in just a few minutes if you will spend that time with her. I said, well, Laurie, tell her to meet me backstage. I'll get there about 10 minutes early. My schedule was such that was about all I had. Well, I got there, and I was on backstage behind the curtain on one side. She spotted me from the other side, and as she walked across the stage, I have never seen as much anger in a human being in my life as I saw in her. She almost started crying when she saw me. She said, oh, I'm just so glad to see you. I got this horrible job. I hate it. I hate everything about it. I hate everybody down there. I mean, you talking about negative nails. She was it. She said, can you help me? Now, understand, I've only got about 10 minutes. So I looked at her, and one thing I have learned, I don't do counseling, but I talk with a lot of people who do, in psychology, psychiatry, and the ministry. And they tell me that everybody who comes to you with a problem are not necessarily looking for a solution. I couldn't understand that for a long time. Why do they bring you a problem if they don't want to solve it? Well, I can tell you why. They want to tell you about it, you about it, you about it, you about it, and you about it. And if you foul up the deal and solve the problem, they can't tell you again, you again. They want the attention that goes with the problem, and every company just about it has that kind of an individual. They want the attention that goes with griping and complaining. Well, I looked at the lady, and it wasn't unkindly, but firmly I said to her, yes, and you know, ma'am, I'm afraid your problem is about to get worse. She said, what do you mean? I said, I believe they're going to fire you. She was stunned. I couldn't have stunned her more if I'd hit her in the face with a bucket of ice water. She said, fire me? Why on earth would they fire me? The inflection in her voice clearly said, they're the bad guys, I'm the good guy. Why don't they fire them and keep me? Have you ever noticed that people who are the problem never recognize that they are? They're in complete denial. They think denial is just a river in Egypt. Why would they fire me? I said, ma'am, I don't believe there's a company in America big enough to contain this much poison in one small spot. Have you ever noticed that when somebody's about to lose something they've been complaining about, whether it's a car, a home, a mate, a job, or whatever, when all of a sudden it appears they're going to lose them, it takes on brand new value. She looked at me and said, well, what can I do? I said, do you really want to know? She said, yes, I do. That's the reason I came to see you. I came looking for help, but you sure haven't been any help so far. I said, well, ma'am, I've got an idea, and I will absolutely guarantee you it positively, definitely, absolutely will work if you will just do it. She said, I'll try anything within reason. I said, okay, when you get home tonight, all of your household tasks are complete. It's bedtime. Get off in a room right by yourself. Get a sheet of paper out, and at the top of it write, I like my job because. She interrupted me. She said, that'll be easy. I don't like nothing about that job. Don't like nothing about those people down there. And I said, well, just as a matter of curiosity, do you work there for benevolent reasons, or do they pay you for working there? She said, well, I got to confess, they pay me. And I said, and you don't like to be paid? Oh, she said, yes, I do. I said, okay, tell you what you do. Open your notebook right now. We'll start our list of the things you like about your job. They pay you for working there, and you do like it, don't you? She said, absolutely. But she just stood there. I said, no, open your notebook now, and we'll get busy on the list. She just stood there. I said, ma'am, let me tell you what my experience in life has been. I've discovered that in 100% of the cases, no exception, people who won't take step number one never take step number two. You see, she had come to me with an impossible dream. Her dream was that nice Mr. Ziegler was going to solve all of her problems, and she would live happily ever after. But folks, I got news for you. I can't solve her problems. I can't solve your problems. But I will give you some steps that I'll absolutely, definitely, and positively will work for you, as it worked eventually for her. I said, well, ma'am, let me tell you something. Unless you're willing to take step number one right now, it's been nice talking with you. She angrily opened her notebook. Before we got through, there were 22 things she liked about her job. Not only did they pay her for working there, they paid her above average. She had 3 weeks vacation with pay. She had a retirement program. She was in on profit sharing. She had health insurance, life insurance, and accident insurance. She lived less than 10 minutes from home. She was in on management decisions. The company sent her to 3 seminars a year to be paid for. She had her own private office and parking place. 22 things that she liked about her job. Now I said, ma'am, when you get home tonight, everything is finished. Get off in a room right by yourself. Close the doors. Change one word from I like my job to I love my job. Get in front of that mirror, and folks, I cannot say this strongly enough, but I'm going to try. The eyes are the windows of the soul. Look yourself in the eye, and with excitement and enthusiasm, say, I love my job because they pay me for working there. I love my job because they pay me above average for working there. I love my job because I have a wonderful insurance program. I love my job before every one of the statements. You will sleep better that night. You see, there's something hidden in what I'm saying to you now. When she says, I like my job, she's really saying, I'm grateful for my job. And of all of the emotions we can have, according to Hans Selye, the #1 stress specialist in America, the healthiest of all human emotions is gratitude. I said, you go down that list. I like my job, I love my job rather. That is a way of gratitude. You'll sleep better the first night. Tomorrow morning, when you get up, get back in front of the mirror just before you go to work. Get back in front of the mirror and repeat the process again with excitement and enthusiasm. I love my job because, and take the list with you. Because the reality is, you see, you will have started to change from a fault finder to a good finder. Some people do really find fault like there's a reward for it. They really do. Take the list with you, and you will be able to add to that list, absolutely guaranteed. Do this every morning and every night, and you will have an astonishing recovery from this advanced case of stinking thinking. Now, I didn't say that to her, but I'm saying it to you. That's what it was. It was an advanced case of stinking thinking. Well, 6 weeks later, I was back in Birmingham, Alabama. I was doing a follow-up sales seminar. Now, the lady was not in sales, but she'd been listening to my tapes. She'd been listening to Automobile University, and she had discovered that everybody sells. Everybody who will ever hear this is in selling. Whether you're a school teacher, a civil service worker, a military personnel, an executive secretary, it doesn't make any difference. What you do, you sell every day of your life. There she was at the sales seminar, seated on the front row, grinning so wide she could have eaten a banana sideways. I'm telling you, you're talking about somebody that was excited. She was turned on. I said, well, how you done? She grinned even more broadly and said, Mr. Ziegler, I'm doing wonderfully well, and thank you for asking. She said, you cannot believe how much those people down there have changed. I got a lid on the line, folks. You're not going to change anybody else till you change you. Everything really does begin with you. Now, you see, the unfortunate thing, this lady had been raised in a very negative environment. First, her parents had told her that she'd never amount to anything. They said, you know, you're always late, you're always sloppy. Why can't you be like your brother or your sister or whatever? When she got married, her husband had continued it, and so her self-talk had become completely negative. Everything that she said about herself was negative. Like Dad said, I'll never amount to anything. Or like my husband says, I can't do anything right. But when she started changing the input, then some radical changes took place.
What do you think?
Oh, that's an awesome story. I love it.
Yeah, he's awesome.
What does it make you think? Like, just share with everybody, because I think everybody will appreciate it. Jason?
Just the bold law, the way you change the way you look at things, the way you look at things change.
Yeah,
whatever it is.
absolutely. Yeah. That's right. Isn't it funny? She's like, everybody's so much better at my job. They're all awesome now. They changed. No, it's probably you.
Yeah.
I love Zig because he has a cool way of hitting you between the eyes without making it hurt so much, but it still stings, right? You know.
Yep.
I was thinking about, of course, Thanksgiving, right? And, what we're thankful for. Do we tell people, do I tell people that are around me that I love, that I appreciate, how much I appreciate them, that kind of thing, And I just really was challenging myself that I don't take the time that I need. So something funny happened the other night. I've been saying to my 16-year-old, I never see you. She's in AP everything. She's got tons of homework. So like every night, she's either out babysitting somewhere, making money so she can afford her car, the gas. And she bought Kathleen, my assistant Kathleen, she bought Kathleen's car for $1,000 when she was getting a new car. It's an old Toyota, it's a perfect 16-year-old car, It doesn't go too fast even if you punch it, That's what I like about it. But it runs great, $1,000 is great. She paid for it cash herself, awesome. So she hasn't asked me for a dime, and she's been driving for like 6 months now. She fills the gas every time, she does everything, So she's a very responsible girl. She gets great grades. She's super smart. We've had 4 children. She's the 4th, and she's smarter than all the other 3. And some of the other 3 are pretty smart. So they get it from their mom, not from me. So I've been saying to Nikki, I don't see you much anymore. You're always up in your room or at the island in the kitchen doing homework. She's diligent, getting something. And then she goes to bed, And then she babysits 2-3 times a week sometimes. So she's like, yeah, you're right, Dad. We haven't spent a lot of time together. I said, well, let's spend some time together soon. I'll make time if you make time. She's like, great. So the other night I said, Carrie and I were in the family room, and it's open to the kitchen, so we could see Nikki, but we could see her back. She was at the island, And I said, Nick, are you done homework yet? She's like, yeah, I just got done. I saw her on her phone. So I said, why don't you come over and watch TV with Mom and I, right? So she does, which is kind of cool because sometimes she doesn't want to, right? She doesn't want to spend time with us necessarily. So about an hour and a half later, I wake up. I'm sitting on the couch. Carrie's sound asleep next to me. I wake up. Don't have any idea I fell asleep, kind of thing. And Nikki is sitting like close enough to reach out and show her phone to me. So she shows her phone to me as soon as I wake up. And it's Carrie and I literally passed out sleeping on the couch, right? And underneath it says, Nikki, come watch TV with us. I'm like, I blew that one. Why couldn't I stay awake, right? Bob's told me stories about his chair, right? Fall asleep in the chair. So, how many of you have stories like that, right? You finally get an opportunity and you're exhausted and, right? It happens. All right. So, I don't tell Nikki, I was thinking in my mind, I don't tell her enough how proud I am of her being responsible. She's a good driver. She, responsible babysitting these kids and making her own money, I mean, I should be telling her. So that was one of the challenges I had. I love Zig's, do you have a case of stinking thinking? And he said that that lady had an advanced case of stinking thinking, right? How about you? You don't have to say out loud unless you want to, but
You get it sometimes.
I think, you know,
yeah, everybody
You
does.
just have to catch yourself.
at times, right, yep.
Mhm.
Less than before.
Less than before?
Well, yeah,
Good.
after the first whole week.
Since you came to KW, right?
That too.
Okay, so what's the bold law? You guys are in bold now, right? Complaining equals
Garbage magnet.
garbage magnet. And that is the truth. I find that in life. I find that in business. I find that in good things that you do. You doing ministry or doing some kind of charity. If you have a complaining spirit, you're just a magnet for garbage. Everyone else, it's easy to start it and just, it's a little tiny fire and it turns into wildfire. So I want to challenge you to think about where your head is. Now's the time to get your head straight for 2018, in my opinion. Right? Now's the time to take some time, get your head together, get your plan together, all that kind of stuff. So how about this? I want to influence you guys for the good today, right? So I thought about how I've been taught that there's power in positive thinking. It's so easy for us to think negatively. We could kind of stay there and just think negatively constantly. It's always someone else, be the victim. It's always someone else's fault. The reason I feel this way, blah, 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 right? So one of the things that we talked about in one of the other Wealth Building Wednesdays is that I found out 87% of all of our self-talk is negative. So nobody does that to us. It's in our own head, right? So now that we know that, we know we can combat it, right? And tell ourselves, shake it off, right? Get that negative thought out of your head and think positively. You that are parents or were a child, were told by your parents, who you hang around matters, right? Who you hang around with. Who do you need to add to your circle? Positive thinkers, right? Good influences. It might not have anything to do with business. Who do you need to get rid of? Or who can you influence to change being the negative friend around you or family member? What if that was a personal challenge that we could all make to change one of our closest to not being negative? We would have done a good thing in 2018 to get one person to stop being negative around everybody, right? How about this? Are you someone your friends and family would say lift others up or keep others down?
There's a fine line.
I'm sorry?
There's a fine line.
There's a fine line? What do you mean?
I'm very honest.
Mm-hmm.
So especially in like the medical field, like if somebody's doing something wrong, whether it's lifting them up or putting them down, you'll tell them what needs to be done to change to save somebody else's life.
Sure,
There's a
absolutely.
fine line depending on what your profession is.
Sure. Yep. But when it's not busy,
Right.
who are you?
Up.
Or who you hanging with, or
Right.
right?
Up and down.
That's what I'm talking about. If it's life or death, telling the truth, whether it's positive or negative, doesn't matter. You gotta get it fixed or whatever it is. Yeah. In real estate sales, it means a lot. I think who you hang around with, the the fact that you're at Wealth Building Wednesday means that you're on, you know, you're wanting something good, right? You're wanting to be involved and learn. I love that about each one of you, and I'm really thankful that you have this. Many of you have been to many Wealth Building Wednesdays, and that's awesome too. And hopefully you're back because you got something out of it. How about this? How do you stay positive? So we know negative self-talk, right, Chase? We know it's all in there. We know it's around us, and we know we get into it sometimes. We're like that. How do we change it or stay positive when we are? Any thoughts? Yeah, Lee?
Focus on gratitude.
Focus on gratitude, perfect. That's where we started today.
Affirmations,
Affirmations?
going to the gym for me, keeps me positive.
Yeah. Good, Chase?
Smile.
Smile. That's awesome. Yeah.
I think how you start your day too is really important. It's really important to me, like, I'm in the house, I make a big deal, like, don't bring me down, this is my morning. I make a big deal of my mornings, it's very important to me how I start my day.
I think you've been looking at my notes. This would be interesting to see like a couple slides. That's a good point.
Going to bowls.
Go into bold. Stay positive by doing that once a year at least, right? Sherry?
I think just the simple awareness of realizing that you have so much negative self-talk and to stay positive, because I was reading in a book recently that you can't control your first thought. Actually, I think it's bold.
Yeah.
The positive challenge. I was reading that yeah, you can't control your first thought, but when you have it, you immediately can control your second. So just having that awareness of the fact that you have negative thinking all the time, when it happens, you're like, oh my gosh, I just did it. And then
Right.
you check yourself.
You're aware.
The awareness of
I love that.
that percentage is
Yeah.
telling.
Good, Deb.
Walking away from people that are in a negative mood
Yeah.
and are really looking to bring everybody down. Just walk away and don't get pulled into that nonsense.
You want to tell everybody the rule I made?
You go ahead.
So this was happening on too regularly in the front part of this office where negativity was dominating. And so I told Debbie we have a new rule as of right now. And she said, oh, what is it? I said, if someone comes in your office and they're negative, they have to go home until their attitude changes and they come back when they're ready. That's all. Guess who walked in, the next person, and was negative?
You.
Paul Allen. Right? So I had left. This guy. So he was negative, and she said, oh, Paul, you must not have heard John's new rule. She hadn't told him.
Oh my God.
And he goes, oh, what's John's new rule? And she said, if you're negative, you have to go home until your attitude changes, and then you come back when you're ready. He turned around and walked out. He listened. That's good, right?
Good stuff.
Love that guy. Mike, you had your hand up?
For me, like turning that stuff around, like I'm not big on self-talk and affirmations, but for me it's small productive wins. Like
Okay.
every day now, up, make my bed, do the dish, the sink has to be empty, the bed's gotta be made. You know, that stuff that just starts my day rolling in the right direction.
And your wife's.
Yeah. Yeah, that's big too.
Happy wife, happy life, yeah.
Getting the kids out the door, and then, you know, for work, if it's, you know, I'm sitting here and I don't wanna do this or that, I'll start with a few positive wins or, you know, something along those lines.
And what Mike, think about what Mike's saying. He's recognizing small wins too. That's the other key. It's like Sherry was saying, recognizing that negative first thought you can fix it, right? If you're aware. Same with wins. Recognizing, being thankful that, hey, I just got something good done. That's a good thing. You know, move forward. Bob?
Yeah, I think being positive is like a self-mastery kind of thing, because the things that we chase is tied to that emotion, how we're feeling, we're positive, we're usually more productive. So knowing the things that trigger you, because you can't always be on the mountaintop, because when you get there, but you can move the bar.
Yeah.
So if you know what things trigger it, whether you're, you know, the small little things that you do, the take step one, because if you feel like, you know, just you're down on yourself because you haven't taken that first step, you can't take the second one until that.
Right.
Knowing what things trigger that and staying in that place and surrounding yourself with those right people it just makes all the difference in the world, on all the aspects of your life.
It's amazing. It's good. Does somebody else have their hand up? All right. So think about how you can stay positive and be that positive person in whatever group you're in, right? Where other people would say that. That'll change your life, to be honest with you. When we started our mastermind group in 2007 or 8 maybe, it's been a long time. We had an affirmation that we would say every time, and it was, the market does not determine my fate, I do. And if you remember 2008,
I thought it was my fault.
yeah. In 2008, it was not like the market right now. It was so bad that we weren't sure people with 800 credit scores could get a mortgage, you know? Or we could find a bank who'd fund it. You know, they were falling out and everything. So I'll tell you, in real estate, 2018, the market doesn't determine your fate. You do. There are people like this guy up front who thrived in 2008 when other people were complaining and negative. So I want to be vulnerable with you for at least a minute and tell you my morning routine, okay, and the way I think, because I believe the morning is very, very important. Sets your day in the right path or not, right? So I start with coffee, right? I can't think, I don't think without it anymore, I feel like. So I read scripture, I pray. I pray for this office, I pray for you, and you know, I pray for my family and Newtown and everybody I can interact with. So I review my big why. Do you guys know your big why? So I know that your big why can change. So I will change it if I need to. I haven't changed it in about a year. I review my goals. I feel like if I know what my goals are, I have a better purpose that day. And if I know why, right, that's even more helpful. And then I strategize my day for maximum production. So I look at my calendar, what do I got going on? Normally I know at least my first appointment from the night before, right? But I have an assistant who has my calendar and can put things on it. So there's times I don't know, I don't know maybe a second or third appointment that I have, unless I really look at it good and strategize. So I try to look at time blocking, how my day's going, and what time I can do what, right? So my big why, I want to share it with you. It is to honor God by leading people to achieve their purpose in life and in business. So many times, many of you that I've talked to, we've started talking about business, but at the end of it, it turns into life, right? Because I believe that business funds your life, the perfect life that you want. And I've found that to be true in my life. So business, if I was independently wealthy, I would not be here, right? Probably, or whatever. I'd be out doing something else, whatever it is. But I love this business, and I know many of you in here have told me you love this business, and it gives us unbelievable opportunity. So why to do Wealth Building Wednesday on a regular basis like this? Feels like we just did one 2 weeks ago, and whatever, right? Because I want to help you be purposeful in your life and in business. And the business is going to help your life. That's how I look at it. And when I'm not effective at doing this, we'll stop Wealth Building Wednesday, or we'll have someone else take it over, or whatever we want to do, right? Today, so I want to tell you, so one of the points was, and this is my vulnerability thing here for you. Today, I have a Bible app that gives me one scripture, the verse of the day, kind of thing, right? And so today's was extremely powerful because number one, I was going to do this, and I knew it at 2 o'clock with you guys. But also, it's a very, very important verse to me, because when I went to junior high and high school, I took a brown bag to lunch. My mom would have it ready for me. Did anybody else do that? We didn't have cool lunch boxes and all that stuff. I always say we were poor. We had everything we needed, but we didn't have a lot more, right? You know. So I grew up in Farrells Hills, you know, and 6 kids, 8 people in a house in 3 bedrooms, 1.5 baths. So my mom used to write a scripture verse, not the words, but the place that it was, right? And so every day. And I remember thinking, why is she doing this? Like, I don't care, you know, back then, right? I mean, like, but inevitably, it would make me look it up. What was she trying to tell me today or whatever, right? This was one that she put on many, many times. And it's in Proverbs, it's the Old Testament, and it says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your path straight. So some of you asked me, why am I the way I am? Or, you know, someone yesterday in this building said, you're such a spiritual guy, right? Or whatever. Well, I believe this. I believe I don't have all the answers, but I believe God can give me wisdom and things like that. I believe if I lean on him and acknowledge him, he makes my path straight. So when I'm thinking about the day, I'd like to know I got a straight path here and I'm not going to be doing this crazy stuff, right, on a cliff and having one tire over the side, right? How about this? I would be remiss, I'm going to stop now talking about me. I want to talk about you. Are you sick of me talking about business planning yet? Because I think we've had 2-3 classes. We did a Wealth Building Wednesday on it, right? Is it 150 degrees in here too? Okay. Thanks, Barb. So, do you know what your goals are? And when I say, do you know what your goals are, do you know what your personal, your business, your financial, you know, the business is going to impact your financial, right? It's going to impact your personal too. Your personal is going to impact some of these too. What are you going to spend on, right? Are you going to overspend? Thanks, Barb. Stuff like that. What are you going to save? What are you going to give? I love Keller Williams' new point on their career worth having, businesses worth owning, life worth living, right? Legacies worth leaving is now added, right? And the fifth one, I'm blanking, but I should put on a slide. But it was basically how much are you going to give? What are you going to give? I think that's awesome. Do you all know what your goals are for 2018? The ones that are shaking their heads are the ones that have been in my classes and Mastermind and other Wealth Building Wednesday. Do you know your big why? You know why you get up and do what you do? Let's take 3 minutes. Write down what you think your goals are. Don't look at anything that you've done before. And why. Just write it down. Or type it in your phone on a notepad. Thanks, Barb. That feels so much better.
Oh, good.
One of the things I'll tell you is when we talk about your big why, you're going to have to struggle through that. You're not going to be able to write it one time probably. Although some of you know, you're laser focused, you know exactly, and that's good. But some of us have had to fight through thought processes and purposeful, how am I gonna be purposeful based on this and stuff like that. So don't be afraid to wrestle with this some more after you leave here. I would love for you guys to send me an email or a text with your big why. It would just be a huge encouragement to me, just to know you were thinking about it and doing it. Anybody willing to share goals, big why, anything? Sometimes when you say it out loud, it makes you more accountable. Ashley?
Change, go ahead. Change careers, change over to the other side, and then even take care of my parents in the end. So, like, I want to help others with, I mean, I guess my other way is still positive, but like, deal with on the healthy end of it. And, you know, relationships that way. And then, like, my parents give everything to us, so, like, my dad's getting ready to retire, so I won't pay his car off.
Nice.
So it's one less thing he's got to worry about.
Good, very good. Yeah,
So I say it out loud. I was working with Kelly the other day, and she made me do it.
good. I love Kelly for that.
I know, me too. But anyway, I would make, $120,000 this year. And to help my family have a more secure future.
Okay. Fantastic. Anyone else? Only two are vulnerable enough to say something? Hey, Mike.
My goal for next year is to add $1 million in bringing into the book. And I want to stop waiting on every month's paycheck, which has been big for me this year, making the leap from
Career change.
getting paid to commission, starting the company and everything, that I don't want to wait.
That's a great why. That might make you act a little different. Pat?
Okay. It's something I've been working on, I think why, and basically it's to maintain my independence for the rest of my life, and in order to do that is to have continuous passive income, so I don't have to worry about it. And just, I'm protecting my kids that way, so that they don't have to worry about it.
That's a great why, right? Don't leave something bad for the kids, right? My dad, I remember him being kind of older and up in the attic, and it was, in Florida it was hot, you know, it had to be 200 degrees in his attic probably. And I'm like, what are you doing up there? He's bringing down boxes and all this, and he didn't need to be. And he goes, I'm not leaving this crap for you guys. So he was motivated to get rid of his crap. We appreciated it later. It's good, Brad. Thanks for sharing. All right, how about this? What are you tracking? So you got goals. What are you tracking? How do you know you're making your goals, or you're close to your goals, or you're exceeding your goals? Yes. Lisa.
You do your 411.
She's been watching my
which I'm going to
notes.
put a plug in that because that's going to be on the calendar for December because you did your business planning this month.
Yes.
So you need your business plan to do your 411.
Yes.
And then you just track it. You have your year, what your goals are for the year. You break it down to the month, and then you break it down to the weeks. And it's real simple. And I have this dumb chalkboard on my desk that if you go by, and it has LA, which is listing appointment, BA, which is buyer appointment. L means I got the listing. B is got the buyer.
Yep.
UC for under contract. I coded it so because I don't want if clients are in there to like really know what that is.
Great.
S is for settled, and R is for reduction. I decided reductions matter too.
Shifted
So
market,
I track
it does.
every month. I just put my little checks on, and Ginny keeps it on an Excel, so I can go back last year, look at whatever how many. It has to do with how many appointments you need to get. I need 5 under contract a month. From reduction of
Price reduction. In a shifted market,
I decided that
Jack,
matters for
we're
me.
talking about a shifted market coming on a regular basis now, right?
Yeah.
So in her mind, she's so influenced by what we've been talking about.
Yeah, I really,
she
like
made
the
a
411 is
new
very important to me now.
column that she's tracking on how many price reductions did I get this month. you know?
Yeah, some months that may not matter because it may sell before you would reduce it. It's just something I
Thank
add.
God.
Like I just tweak it and then I look at it every day and then that chalkboard reminds me to look at my actual 411. I'd love to see how Bob does it because I think his is probably cooler than my little chalkboard.
Bob has a beautiful 411. Deb?
I just want to give instructions for the newer people in here. Find your 411 on KW Connect. There's a red toolbar, drop down under resources, and then you go to 411 tools. So that's your internet, okay? The top toolbar, drop down to 411 on resources.
And you'll need to bring that when you have the class with me. Because you'll need to bring your 411. We'll start.
Beautiful.
There's no right or wrong, and that's what I think.
That's right.
Everybody gets caught up
That's
in
right.
the job, business, personal. What does all this mean? Who
Right.
cares? Put it down. Put it down. Break it down to the month. Break it down to the week. Because all these things look easy when you only need to sell a house a week, or 1.2 houses a week, or whatever it is,
Or one a
or
month.
whatever it is, or one a month. Then it's like if you can look at it any way you want. Oh, I made my goal this month. I'm going to golf for the rest of the month. Whatever.
Or if you're Bob Mines, you're gonna fish the rest of the month.
Or yeah.
So Bob, Lisa and you are probably the two that I probably talked most about 401s with. Can you just tell everybody about your 401, what your thought process, where your head is?
There's a new program that Justin had mentioned in our last mastermind. It's called ctebiz.com. It's an Excel sheet. It costs about $30 a month. It's probably the most comprehensive thing that I see. I'm a real kind of a numbers. ctebiz.com.
Keller Williams' agent came up with it
Yeah.
and made a separate company, and we believe it's so good that Keller Williams is probably gonna buy this tool from his guy.
Yeah. It literally, my process and why, as soon as I saw it, I'm like, I've got to have it. I had it the next day. My process, because I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, I think kind of like big picture-ish, and then I have to break it down to what's that translate that I need to be doing right now so I don't forget.
Yeah.
So I literally take every year, and mine's done for the year, I take the various categories of my life, my family, and then I break it down even into individuals. What do I want to accomplish with this child, this grandchild, whatever, my home, things that I got to get taxes around the home, anything that needs to get done this year from a business, personal, financial, whatever, gets done on a piece of paper. I usually go away somewhere to do it, so I'm out of my normal surroundings. I've done it in the food court at the mall. I've gone to Center City in Rittenhouse Square, somewhere where I'm just out of my normal element that allows my brain to wander and drift and think. So I get it on paper, and then I go from that point, I've got it all segmented, the family, the spiritual, the business, the personal health, all that kind of stuff. And then I break that down into, okay, what month is this best to be performed in? So I'm going from the year to month, and then the 411, you take it from the month to the week, and then to the day. I've got two specific columns, thanks to John, an 80% and a 20%. The 20%, I call it my kill list. Those are people that I want to go to contract with that week if at all possible. The 80% is everything else. I'd like to shift it off to somebody else to do it. And then I do, on each of those columns, based on the one thing book, I highlight the ones that have, and I have it in Word on my computer. I highlight the red ones, and I'm like, what's the most important one out of all of these that absolutely have to get done this week? Then in another column, I've got business development things that I want to accomplish. So each year, when I look at where my sources of business came from, so much from this open house, say, or from a sphere of influence, I know what that number is. So say if I did 10 from an open house, what's it going to take for me to do 14 from an open house? What strategies do I need to employ to raise those bars in each of those? So that goes into my business development column, and then every week I'll spend time every week on just one of those things because I've highlighted, because that's my one thing for the book. So I'm trying to combine all the knowledge that I've gotten from Keller Williams and actually put it into place in a way that it makes sense across the whole spectrum. But I see it all as one thing coming together. I don't see it as just, okay, this is a 411. I see it as a whole picture kind of thing. It's like the lava lamp. When it moves this way, it affects this thing. So if you do that CTE biz stuff, you get to see your whole business kind of in flow and in motion. It's an amazing thing because you see weaknesses. You see, wow, I should have had more out of my sphere of influence, or I should have had more in referrals, and maybe my customer service isn't where it needs to be. Maybe I need to ramp it up. It exposed incredible weaknesses as well as incredible strengths that you have. So if you don't track it, you're flying blind. You're just absolutely flying blind.
And what we're taught is if we don't track it, we're really not in business. We have a hobby doing this. Because if you went and opened up a store over here, well, let's say right here, right, in this strip area, you'd track stuff, wouldn't you? I love what Gene Rivers said. For some reason, when some people get a real estate license, they think it's a license to not work.
Well, and one of the things I ask people is, do you pay your taxes quarterly? I ask that to a lot of people in conversation. And if you're not, you're really not in business. I mean, because you think the mall's not paying their taxes, or this building's not paying its taxes, you know.
Or Keller Williams.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, every business is paying their taxes. So for some reason, agents believe that, you know, we make all this money, and then they go, we're gonna write that big check.
Yeah.
So.
I heard an interesting question. How many, just a show of hands, how many people think they're running their own business? Just raise your hand if you're running your own business. Okay, keep them up. If you stopped working right now, how many people have income coming in from their business? Keep your hand up. So, and that was something that like really hit me in the face. And when you like track your numbers, like if you have like a buyer's agent and you see, and this was something that jumped off the page for me recently, because one of my goals is to be out of this in so many years and have it self-supporting, is I realized that 40% of my business is really being generated by somebody else, and I didn't really look at it that way. So you get these little golden nuggets when you track it, and you're like, wow, I just didn't know that. So
Sounds like we have a couple candidates to run Wealth Building Wednesday when I'm not around. Awesome, I love it, It's good, thank you guys. How about this, do you guys have a coach or an accountability partner? Raise your hand if you do. 1, 2, 3, 4. I highly recommend getting a coach or at least an accountability partner. And if your coach is not holding you accountable, you probably like them because they're not making your life miserable at times, but they're not the right coach. So I think Debbie admitted, and I admitted earlier in a meeting here, that we hate our coaches at times. That's a healthy thing. That's good. If they were too easy on us, they wouldn't get us to perform better, right? When you make your plan, do you plan on having a life worth living? Because why are we doing this, right? It's not to work 7 days a week all year long, right? And never take a vacation.